Hansa, Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Today you are going to be sharing about Dadi's healing life. How did she heal her own life? But before that, I'd like to say that you're very fortunate to be with Dadi for the last 36 years, and you spent last 5 years going around the whole Bharat, taking Dadi here, there, and everywhere. And that's been amazing. So many blessings are being recouped, or so many blessings have come Dadi's way, your way, and it has been amazing experience for you. So now is the time for you to share all those beautiful memories, treasures, experiences that you have collected. Tell us, how did Dadi heal her own life?
Well, Germany Ben, from all the personal stories we've been hearing from Dadi during our early days, you remember how Dadi used to sit with all of us and she used to share yagya stories, and also we used to hear stories from her classes, and for years, and how Dadi used to share that how in the early days, because she had come 1.5 year late um, than all the other daddies, all the other sisters. Dadi really felt that she really needed to work on herself, and so it was at that time that whatever version Baba was speaking, um, she really worked on herself and allowed the knowledge to penetrate, and she really was becoming the embodiment of whatever Baba was saying, and also how hard she worked in, when Baba says that you have child, you have to read the Murli 15 times, and it was at that time that Dadi really felt that um, she really needed to become the embodiment of the Murli, and so each um, version Baba was saying, she practiced on her own self again and again. And also in those days, Dadi used to go away, sit in solitude. She used to sit in silence and just contemplate, you know, the knowledge that was given.
So then how did she heal her mind? So that's her life, but her mind and then relationships.
Yeah. Through her mind, I would say that when you remember when Dadi was sick in Baba Bhavan, that she wasn't even able to come down the stairs
For 1 year.
For 1 year,
Yeah.
and Baba's room was just there, and it was that time that she really worked on, just healing the self, um, just being in silence and healing the body. And also we've heard Dadi say many times it was just 5% of the allopathy medicine that was working on her, but it was mostly God's power and
In the
blessings that were working for her, everyone's family's blessing. And so it was those times, and also being around Dadi, I was seeing how when she used to hear um, somebody being sick or somebody being in hospital, Dadi used to make a point to go and see that person. Do you remember Naisha?
Correct, yeah. Nisha,
Leslie, Diana from South London.
Yes.
Dadi used to especially, it was like a lifeline for them that, there somebody's caring for us, somebody's asking after us. It used to uplift them.
That's right.
But also, not only that, but also when she used to hear somebody being sick abroad, I remember um, when Mohini Ben was in Cleveland, that she was having a little operation, Dadi would sit and send out that, loving vibration to that soul. And also she made a point that somebody should go and see her, and she sent Gentivan, to go
That's
and
right, yeah.
visit her. but also there are other souls, that Daddy would remember them, send them gifts, send them blessing card, and Daddy would make sure that she would, you know, write her signature on that, and she would send them gifts, totally. All these things, it's a token of love and good wishes for that person. And we used to get the emails saying that how happy they were to receive that. Do you remember Mexico, Eleanor?
Yes.
So how much, with so much love, Daddy remembered that soul, and
I remember
Daddy
there
is,
was a time when Dadi flew on her own to Mauritius, and then she had to come back from France,
yes.
and she was going there because
Those
some
days she was
yeah.
traveling alone, but when I was traveling with her, I remember one incident. You might remember that when she was in St. Clementine's.
Yes.
Daddy was very sick at that time, and she was meant to go to Canada.
Correct. Yeah.
The doctor said that she has to stay in hospital for a few more days. But Daddy, she made the impossible possible, and she discharged herself at that time. She discharged herself. The next day, she was on the flight, and it was just like a shock to everyone that we just
That's
hearing
right.
Daddy's not well, and the next minute they're hearing Daddy's on the flight, and it was just that close bond between the two souls, uncle and Daddy. Daddy really wanted to go and see him, and he was also fondly remembering Daddy. And so how that connection, um, you know, that bond was there.
That's right.
Nothing stopped her.
Correct. Yeah.
When she had any thought, any determined, nothing would stop her from doing what she wanted to do.
And also, Hansa, I remember when Dadi herself was very sick. Remember, she wasn't coming to London.
Yes.
Remember that time?
Yes, at that time, yes, we were in Lotus House, Ahmedabad. But that just had to plant that thought in her.
And then she came.
And then she came, yeah. And that was because of Murli Dada. The love there, the close bond there.
Correct.
Murli Dada remembering Dadi, Dadi remembering Murli Dada. So nothing stops when there's that
I know. I remember there was
connection.
a peace in the park that was happening that year.
That's right.
And of course, the souls were pulling her from Peace in the Park, who were organizing. They all wanted Dadi to be here, but more or less, Dadi's attention was more on Murli Dada.
Yeah.
And she came over. So this is your
Many
Dadi's
stories.
Yeah.
Many stories.
So these are some of the experiences you shared of Dadi's healing energy that she used in relationships and her mind, how it worked. So now, can you tell us the dharna behind this? The Dadi had and your experiences of Dadi's dharna.
Yeah. We know how disciplined Dadi was. And because we've lived with her for many years, and like any discipline that was set out, she would follow that. Like with Third Sunday, nothing stopped her from doing Third Sunday. She would, no matter where she is in the world, she would make a point to sit for an hour, 1 hour for meditation. I remember the time when we'd gone to Germany and we'd missed the flight. We were in the lounge, and Daddy would say, "Okay, let's just sit here." I mean, people were there surrounding us, but that didn't stop her from sitting there for an hour's meditation, just sending out that pure, peaceful vibration to the world. And Dadi had also made this commitment when she went to Spain for the Parliament World Religion. There was a conference there, and she especially spoke there, saying that she would give an hour's meditation, focus on the world.
So Dadi mentioned about the dharna that she had, very firm, right?
Yeah.
And anything else you want
But
to add?
also, we know Dadi had close connection with Baba, with God, and she Dadi really wanted everyone to experience um, that old relationship with God, like how she had done,
Hmm.
and to forge that connection. Dadi worked on each one, you know. I remember when we used to go um, to one particular place. I won't mention the name, but we used to go there. And this person used to keep coming again and again to Dadi with the same complaint
Hmm.
that they weren't good enough for that service that they were doing. Beautiful soul,
Hmm.
but they lacked self respect
Hmm.
and just them having a hopeless feeling. That he used to really uplift them, give them a lot of love, and inspire them, uh, and really show them teach them that this is your virtue, your quality,
Hmm.
make them see their speciality. So there are many souls like that that it would help them.
Hmm. So, anything else about Dharna that she would continue with even until the last breath?
um, I would remember the time when we used to send messages
Hmm.
globally.
Hmm.
Daddy used to sit for Amrit Vela. She never missed Amrit Vela,
Hmm.
even when she was sick.
Hmm.
And sometimes when Daddy used to finish Amrit Vela, she started sharing something. So at that time, I used to feel that, um, why don't I send this message to the globe? And so uh, Daddy used to record messages like for Amrit Velas on Thursdays or for Sundays so that people could share those messages in their class.
Hmm.
So I used to make that happen for Daddy.
Yeah, so
Some,
Hansa, that's something that you were very deeply inspired at that
yeah,
time.
I used to remember the global family
Correct, yeah.
always that um, I was fortunate enough to hear it, but also that is
You shared with
that
everybody.
is a people's person, and
Hmm.
so the family should hear what Daddy has to share.
Hmm.
So with the family, I used to
And
send
also,
those messages.
yeah, and I remember when special double foreigners or anybody from India would come to Madhuban and Dadi would like to speak to them. That is also something you made it happen, right?
Yes,
So tell us about that. How did Dadi really connect with different souls from different countries also?
yeah. Daddy used to call them in groups,
Hmm.
country-wise, state-wise, group-wise, and Daddy also made a point whenever there was retreat. Daddy used to especially make a point to go and say hello to that group, whichever retreat was happening. But also, um, if people used to ask to meet Daddy personally, she would allow that to happen.
Hmm.
Daddy used to, and then she used to give hours to that person.
Hmm. And what
So Daddy
more?
was very caring, very sharing.
Hmm.
She was caring, sharing, and inspiring
So
everyone.
tell me, because Dadi was a people's person and you actually allowed all that exposures to happen for Dadi, last December when I was here, after Amrit Vela, you put Dadi in bed and she's lying on her bed. Tell us the scenario at that time because I observed that. She was giving class, she was half asleep.
Yeah, there was many times.
Yes.
Uh, it used to be quite funny. Sometimes we would be sleeping, and suddenly we would hear this chant of Om Shanti, and when we used to really see, and is she awake or is she and she would be saying Om Shanti in her sleep, or
Hmm.
she would be giving class, you know. So she used to really serve the world, or which wherever she was at that time in her
Hmm.
sleep.
Hmm.
I remember even now, after Dadi's departure, many souls came to me, and they used to say that um, the night Dadi passed away, but they came to our center and we saw her, you know. Uh, there were many, many stories that, and I felt at that time she was very peaceful. Uh, just few hours before her departure, I think she must have gone everywhere just to say goodbye because we were hearing so many stories from different people. Uh,
So
that
she,
Daddy came to us
right.
at that time when Daddy was departing. We felt Daddy's presence. So yeah.
So many souls felt Dadi. So tell us your experience of Dadi's healing power after Dadi's departure. You know, she's one of the 8, so her thought power was extremely powerful and also effective. How did you experience that?
Um, at that time, it was a difficult moment, but also it took so many months for me to sort out my thoughts because there were many conflicting thoughts that were happening inside. One was drama, the other one was time, and the third one was my own thoughts that she could have stayed on longer, you know, another year or, you know, another 5 years, knowing her age and how her health was, but still, there's, you know,
Is it attachment?
probably, but those thoughts were there, but you know, it was quite difficult. And then I was getting calls from different centers around Bharat for me to share my experience, which was very difficult um, because I was always dreading these two test papers. One, Dadi passing away, and the other one was speaking through words, facing people. That I dreaded the most. You might recall, you might remember how Daddy used to call me up to speak for 5 minutes on stage every time. When I used to sit in front, Daddy used to say, come and share for 5 minutes. Sometimes I used to fear a lot sitting in front of her that she might call me up. But also sometimes I used to hide away.
But Hansa, you shared beautifully.
Yeah.
And also there was time when you were writing poems.
Yeah. But
So you
also
can
like
share.
on the flight, when we were on the flight, Daddy used to push me and say, go in. She used to push me to the passenger. She used to say, go and tell them who we are, where we're from, you know, give our introduction, just so that I open my mouth in giving knowledge. So it's been difficult, a tough task. I remember in June, they'd asked me to conduct Bhatti, and at that time Sister Jayanti was there, and I just agreed because Jayanti was with me at that time, and then everybody was putting their names for that particular group, so ours was the fourth group.
Oversubscribed.
So yeah. And then suddenly Jayanti had to leave for London, and I was left, you know,
Another test paper.
another test paper. And I thought, oh my God, you know, now what am I going to do? And then also people started having these thought that if Jayanti is going to go to London, how is Hansa going to conduct this bhatti? So they also had doubts, but then Baba helped. Dadi was the driving force behind it, because I was all the time remembering Dadi's word when she used to say, "Make it happen," or "It will
Make it
happen."
happen.
Yeah, or "It will happen." You know, nothing's difficult. How Dadi made the impossible possible. So those words, those feelings, the echoing sound of Dadi, again and again, just coming through mine, and I just got on with whatever needed to be done. And remember Baba's word, I'm sitting here, don't worry child.
Yes.
So that used to have lots and lots of
Mm.
yoga, lots of meditation, a lot of missingness of Dadi, but I was feeling that she was really helping me
Move
move
forward.
forward.
But you must feel Dadi's, I mean, presence in your life,
Yeah.
of course.
My first time when I went to, at during those days, you know, being really disheartened and sad, very emotional. I didn't feel like going for Amrit Vela. I didn't go to class, and for months this happened.
Mm.
And then suddenly, there was this thing that how Dadi followed everything. You know, her discipline. I was
Mm.
remembering she had such a disciplined life, and she taught all of us that.
Mm.
And so, how can I not go for Amrit Vela in the hall?
So you picked yourself up.
I picked myself up,
Good.
yeah.
So that was the power that
But
you
still, there
received.
was emotion behind that because every time I used to go to class, um, I felt that the loneliness that now I'm going on my own and coming back on my own. And I used to sit in Murli class, and any song that used to play that used to give me tears.
Hmm.
It was a very
So
emotional.
you went through that patch very, in a very dignified way, and you go to class every day. You go for Amrit Vela. You
Yeah,
follow all the disciplines.
I feel that's very important because
Hmm.
that's what Daddy taught us.
And that's giving you power,
That's
right,
given me power, yes.
to continue. So Hansa, thank you so much for sharing deep secrets about your experiences, Dadi's Dharna. Please continue to share.
Thank you.
I'm sure everybody else will be enjoying your lovely sharing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Om